moving into a main focus of an enterprise backup solution, as well as hitting those laptop fleets where 60 to 70% of your business may lie. Is everyone here pretty much serving in the SMB market with the outliers in consumer and enterprise? Everyone seems to be pretty much in that realm. Yeah, SMB is a big move because you find that sometimes the enterprise clients, while the revenue may be more, the cost to you may be more as well, which is why enterprise clients typically have their full-time IT staff in place. Consumers, lower revenue, but the time remains the same, the time and cost. And SMB is really in that sweet spot where you can get that right revenue, but really your margin is highest in this market. So that's where we've been positioned as our bread and butter, and that's where a lot of our partners go as well. So it's good to hear that everyone's kind of in that realm. Just a little bit about hardware backup strategies in the declining market. Naturally, new technology comes in and moves old technology out. Tape technology is old technology. It's slow, it's bulky, it's unreliable. You really need people to be managing this who are qualified to manage it. All too many times, we've been asking around certain businesses, and you try to figure out, okay, where are the backups? And no one knows what you're talking about. And then you describe what it is. You say the tapes that you switch out in and out every day. And then some office manager says, oh, is that what those are? And no one likes going into a situation with a new client and they've experienced some data loss and there was a backup system that you weren't really privy to or you didn't set up, and that's what you find. Well, it's because of this after-sale attention that these strategies require that really that strategy is very limited in its usefulness. It's very expensive and there's a very low percentage of actually using it. Whereas you take something like an online backup system, it's very simple to implement. The only time you really manage it is during the initial backup. After that, it's going to run on its own. And then utilizing it can be done by the user. Anyone who can operate a browser can log in, and they can search for specific files and recover those files, which is why you have so many different options as far as how you can implement a type of service like SOS provides. Rather than typically you have a tape system, you need someone to manage it, it's going to be server-centric, and that's bottom line. Everything else is expendable. So it's the flexibility of these new services, like what we're providing, that really allows you to provide a full solution, and full solutions are all about uptime. An uptime solution really leads you to be a managed service provider. That's the focus of the market, and that's really where you find the value in it. You get a regular payment, but your downtime should shoot down, and also your sneaker time should shoot down. So it's really a benefit for everyone. So it's very nice to see that this market, the IT service market, has matured to a point where not only the technology can support items like this, but now the savvy in the business world and the relationship has been matched up. So rather than having that negative relationship where IT service providers are strictly risk managers, now you can be that productive asset to your business. And again, having these services in place on a regular basis is really the way to enter that market smoothly. We have some more information about hardware backup and online backup in the numbers here. We don't need to go over it in too much detail. I think most of you understand this. And if you want to look at it more, this information will be available on our website in the next week. So again, hardware backup, online backup, it's really a deceiving concept that hardware is great because there's no recurring cost. Hardware fails, it dies. You need regular management, and it needs to be qualified management, especially when it comes to test recovery. Test recovery is a very painstaking service to provide. A lot of our partners offer it as a standalone service that you pay a lot extra for. Online backup makes that process much, much easier. You don't have to go to your client site to test recover from an online backup. So you can, from your location, as long as you have permission, sign in with your customer's backup account and do a test recovery of their online backup service. That way you don't have to plan your weekend around going into somebody else's office, getting security codes, the sneaker time to get there and back. You can actually now do this from your location without any hardware transfer, and it adds to your service. Maybe you keep that test recovery as a off-site manual backup. Again, when you're talking about, hundreds of gigs of information or terabytes even, you really want to be able to have a physical drive that you can plug in and get that back. That's going to be the fastest way to go about it. Your online backup increases the flexibility and the accessibility of getting that information back when you need it by anyone who's qualified to use a web browser, basically, and also to allow you to do that test recovery. So it really plays into a whole level of what you do in a backup solution. So again, the move to online backup, it's common. That's why you all are here. Online backup is just where things are going. Online backup is very secure. We do a 3-tiered encryption process for our service specifically, which is rather unique in the market. We encrypt the data locally. We transfer over an SSL, and then we encrypt the data as an additional 1024-bit AES, which is at the first data center, and we replicate all that data to a completely geographically separate second data center. So security is at our utmost importance, which is why we've won so many awards. We've been awarded as PC Mag's Editor's Choice since 2006. So that's been 3 total awardings out of 3 judgments. So we're very happy about that. The latest was just this last winter. And it's because we've made the process of backup and recovery simple without sacrificing security and vice versa. So it's been a priority of ours that the usability of the service is at a level where your basic user can take advantage of it, but then the security is up to the level of HIPAA compliance, SAS 70, SSAE 16, Sarbanes-Oxley, EU standards, all the above. So security, we really do take the market on by storm, and our security measures, especially with the dual offsite backup, is really something that's unique to SOS and what we provide. So again, what is a backup solution? When you're moving to online backup, it's rather unique, especially for your customers, to be hearing about a new backup strategy that's not directly replacing what you already have going on. So, oh, you have this online backup program. Does that mean we get rid of our tapes? Well, probably, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting rid of a local backup solution. Your local backup is very important. It's a combination of different strategies that create the full solution, and managed service packages are all about solutions rather than a la carte items. So just having a single image backup system in place on the server when you have people working off-site doesn't really give you a solution. That still provides a great risk. So that's why we include the local backup strategy in our software. That's why we're coming out with really exciting technology over the next this quarter and following through to the next 2. And that's why we listed here local, off-site, system state, file, and folder. And just because those are kind of the 4 main ideas, really it's just where's the data being backed up to, and where's it being held, and then what type of recovery options do we have? Is it a granular recovery option, or is it a full system option? And you could also throw in there new VM services and that sort of thing for quick boot and that sort of idea. But I think you get the general idea of it all. Understanding how data is used is really important, and when you put together formal risk registries, as far as these are all the things that we have to worry about when it comes to preserving your uptime, that's when you really start to get closer to that managed service package that's really going to communicate to you and your customers. Understanding how data flows throughout a business is very important to uptime strategies because it's important in your recovery strategy. If you have 2 terabytes of data in a business, what portions of the data are necessary to get it back up and running, and then you can worry about recovering everything else. It's really about breaking it down and sometimes getting the pen to the pad and actually doing a formal risk registry is the only way to figure that out. When you go through your risk registry, these are some of the most common instances of data loss as studied by and recorded by HP and SCOR's study titled Impact of Disaster on Small Businesses. And these are stats of magnitude, so it showed that of all the damages they recorded from businesses over about a 10-15 year period, 40% of the damages were caused by hardware failure. Not that 40% of the time it was hardware failure, it was 40% of the damages. So hardware failure is a very damaging instance, and but it's not necessarily the most frequent. And by going down the list and understanding, okay, this is the significance of each risk, this is the frequency of each risk, you get your risk factor, and then you can start deciding, okay, how do we prevent this from happening, if we can prevent it at all. If we can't prevent it, how can we mitigate against this? How do we put ourselves in a position to best react to this type of data loss? So this is a very important thing to understand as you're putting together risk registries and really formulating how you put together a solution. Again, a lot of times it's that pen to the pad that really gets you to that point of realization and clarity of, oh, this is really our belt and suspenders approach. This is it right here. We were missing a few things. And that's typically the case. You can think it, you've been in the market, you get into old habits, you get into a routine, and it's good to break away from that every once in a while, especially as new technology comes into things, and actually document what you're doing and why you're doing it. So again, some more information